Welcome back to the show that gives ordinary people the space to talk about things that really matter. Today we're talking about the student movement and its power and whether or not it has power. And just before the ad break, we touched a little bit on, I asked a question about the disadvantage. Who are we disadvantaging with these protests? I had an argument with someone when Roads Must Fall started, and I asked the question as whether that is the fight for the current student body or it should have been a fight for the alumni. Because I always feel, and it's kind of difficult because I feel like you are there, roads must fall, roads must fall. That white lecturer that's going to mark your exam book is watching you, roads must fall. Do you understand? And especially when it comes to BCom, it's numbers. This is not a stress. So if you put the right number, it's a mark. But when it comes to humanities and those kind of, especially politics, especially things like sociology, psychology, anthro, it's essays, it's opinions. And as a lecturer, as a white lecturer, I'm looking there, Mbali, Dlomo, and I'm like, oh, okay, this one I know, and then I dispute everything you've written in your essay, and it's so difficult for you to come back and ask for a remark because it's an essay, it's an opinion, it's what you think. So then you have to now go through a process of now trying to get remark. So that's roads must fall. Now back to fees must fall. My question is, who do we disadvantage? You are in the third year. You would like to pass and go to fourth year or go to postgrad next year or finish, graduate, move on with your life. We're now shutting down universities, Occupy UJ, granted at VITS and the other movements you guys have seized, you guys are writing your exams now. But there are universities where exams are not happening or exams are just started but people are still in jail cells. Now you're third year, you can't graduate. You are on a scholarship, you're on a bursary, or you're shutting down university and the students are there on financial aid who need to graduate within an amount of time. And for me to go back to a corporate like an APSA and tell them, oh sorry, we're busy with fees must fall. APSA's going to be like, we gave you 3 years. We paid for 3 years. We can't pay for an extra year. Do you understand? So that's what I'm trying to get. Who are we disadvantaging? Is it the student body's fight? Should we be strategic about when we fight?
I had a very big argument with a comrade about that because this guy was going on about how yes, exams must be postponed. Let's write in January, and I'm like, wait. My course is 3 years.
In a 3-year plan.
I'm in my second year.
Yes.
I'm about to finish my second. I qualified for all my exams. I want to write.
Yes.
Because I want to finish my psychology degree and I want to move on to be what I want to be.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want. Yes, I will strike. I'm striking with you.
I'm for the cause.
I'm for it, But then when it comes to focusing academics, that's what we're here for, right? We're here for academics, we're here for education. That's what we want, free quality education. There's education in it. That's what we want. And I'm like, no, but then you're telling me now that I must not go to class, I must not go to my last lectures and stay and fight. And if I do leave, I'm a sellout. Explain that to me. Like, I literally asked him, I'm like, explain that to me.
And what was his explanation?
And his explanation was, no, you're just a sellout. If you're a comrade 100% all the way. And I'm like, no. But
that sellout argument can't be a valid argument. We can't when we cannot argue, then we just jump into let's tarnish someone's character by calling them a sellout. Exactly. Because I am concerned. You as a person who understands the course, understands what we're doing, should be able to explain to those who maybe are not politically inclined to understand why this thing must happen and must happen now. I feel like people need to explain to people. You can't just expect all because we're black, as you said. The fact that because now we're all black, we must just be part of, yes, you know what I mean? You can't just expect me to strike. Mina, I am on a bursary. And they've sent me a letter to say, fam, you better write exams. We're not paying for a fourth year. As per their contract, it says we're not paying for a fourth year. So what happens to those people? Are we then not putting them under a disadvantage, especially in the light of us then telling them they're sellouts and not explaining to them?
I do feel it's in my opinion, it's sort of like power within the student movement, like we are here, we are leading the students behind us, and we want them to just be there, support us in all the way. Like, if you don't want to, if you don't want to write exams, fine, that's your cause. But I want to be here and pass and move on with my life. I can still support, as she said, like I'm for the cause, but I'm here for a plan, and I want to see that plan materializing. But for you to just say, okay, because you feel that power that I'm at the forefront of this thing. Therefore, everything I say goes. You know, that's power right there. Everything I say goes, and it doesn't matter.
Mbali is itching. She's like,
like if you are black, you have to be in this thing all the way through. And if I say we're going to write exams in Jan, then we're going to write exams in Jan. It doesn't matter whether you say you are here for 3 years. So I feel it is the power of the student movement who just want to say, I'm right for this thing, and therefore everyone behind me must be there with me. It doesn't matter what, but they must just be there. So I just feel like it's power of the student movement.
I'm going to take a bit of a radical stance now. I feel that there will be disadvantage, and I'm not for calling people sellouts. I mean, at the end of the day, we understand black tax. Most of us, if anything, need to finish so we can go fix our mother's roofs. That's the reality, you know. But at the same time, there's also this thing of there are compromises, and unfortunately there are sacrifices that some people have to make and some people won't. That is the nature of a revolution. I feel like that happened even in apartheid. And I think it saddens me that there's this thing with black people as a collective where there's always just something that's stopping us from expressing these things that hurt us. You know, and I feel like I understand. For example, what we're talking about is it's so interesting how at Wits, for example, management only told us about the fee increase close to exams. And they said they do this, njalo. It's so systematic because they understand that these kids need to write. They're not going to take it there.
So, but then is your response then not also meant to be strategic in saying, okay, let's go and write, comrades. We write exams, but we shut down registration.
That's why I said next year. I feel like I just said to you.
No, I hear what you're saying, but we're now talking about what's happening now. Granted, you guys got through the hurdle of fighting this thing just before exams. But the reality is that you've started something that now other campuses are now catching on only now. Now we've got Occupy UJ, that's still happening right now. But the reality is that it is exam time. People must write exams. Same thing is, granted, you may say at Wits there are students who are writing exams, but they're not writing exams with the same mentality that they would have had this thing not happened. We now have angry young black people. You know, and then maybe they have always been angry, but that anger is now awoken. It's awake, it's sitting there and it's like, it's war. Like, I'm sure on the last day they write pens down is by tens on pens down. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get to say, can then the student body also then be strategic in how they do things? Let's not get excited. Let's not become impulsive activists. Let's sit down. I'm sure 1976 did not just come out of six squatile, the pot has boiled. Let's look at how our government reacted to fees must fall. They took their time, whether you like it or not. And it's not that the ANC does not, and the ANC being the majority party in government, ultimately their government, it's not that they didn't understand the power of the student body, because they know it, they come from it. They understand it, they know it very clearly, but look at how they strategically put you guys in a corner and then gave you something that ultimately was like a carrot. They literally dangle the carrot and say, look, we can give you what you want, but for now, take this. But then also bring in the idea of that South Africa, we live in a very, a balance of power type of country where is autonomy of universities exists. You can't just go, Zuma can't just walk into Wits and say, stop paying, you know, the kids are not going to pay. It doesn't work like that, because then government must come on board in terms of subsidizing these institutions. But, you know, we're running out of time, and it's very unfortunate because I wanted us to touch on, but you guys can make it your last words. Social network activists, they irk me. I cannot stand them. I can't deal with them. I need to, if you guys just give me closing remarks on how you feel about I'm a social media activist. I'm busy. I'm a campaign. I'm a hashtag. But nothing ever materializes from those things.
Overnight revolutionaries.
You call them overnight revolutionaries?
They just wake up and decide, I'm a revolutionary.
But why not?
Update her status and then tell people that when you're not updating statuses, why? So when you're not in this, like, but.
Oh, you mean those who say we're not gonna speak today on Twitter because we're fighting?
Those who just decide, no, today's my day, and then that's it. And then they only decide that I'm going to go to union buildings just to take a picture. I'm going to go to Lutuli House just to say I've been at Lutuli House.
Look, I don't have an issue with people who overnight wake up and read. It's that consciousness thing that we're trying to get South Africa. Stay woke. I'm not worried about people who wake up and decide it's okay, now I'm part of the fight. I do have a problem with what you're saying, that whole, we're not going to update statuses today because we're supporting Fees Must Fall. Great stuff. You keep doing that. Don't update your status. Does it make change? No, it doesn't. Overnight active, but I'm an social media activist.
My only thing is, if you're going to be a social media activist, also understand that we're powerful in our numbers.
Yeah.
You can do it while we're there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're all doing. There's a mandla and you hear also, because the more you disseminate knowledge, the more it just goes out there and becomes like that's how it became a national thing. That's how it starts, you know. And at the same time, I think social media is really important, but powerful, but it can also, there are also antagonists out there. And I think we had to, at some point, as with students, we were like, we need to control
the messaging that's going out on social media.
It became a thing of, you had your analysis Mondays, we had to sit down and be like, now we're going to write articles. Actually, now we need a team.
Let's write an actual narrative. Yeah.
Actually, abantu abayisix abahambe na yeni. Let's write things. Let's publish.
Because media was out there showing. They were showing imagery that wasn't really a true reflection of what was happening on the ground. So obviously, there is a little bit of power in terms of using social media and having activists that work. But you're saying that they must then disseminate the right information.
Yes. And so I commend the student body for, in that moment, being able to say, actually, can some people go to the labs and just make it happen? Like, write articles, even if it's like a paragraph, do something, you know. If you have a live, because we even had a live Twitter feed where it was like constantly the police had just like intimidated the students with tear gas, bam, it's out there. So it's not always, oh my God, don't go to this because people are getting violent. It's not the case.
Comes back to that narrative that you spoke about earlier. I like that quite a lot. Miss Social Media?
For me, I can say yes, social media is very powerful. We saw it with Fees Must Fall, and it came back to a point where even brands, because I work for brands, and even brands had to take like a step back and just say, let all this just be for the students. Let's just watch everything on social media and let us keep quiet. If we are helping, fine, that's good. But then also it's about, you know, the students wanting to fight with the media, you know, like, no, you're not publishing the right stories, so this is what's happening, so we're going to show it on social media, we're going to screen grab things, we're going to show videos of what's happening on the field and what. So it was more of a, okay, I'm fighting with the media, you know, because literally the media had a small voice in this whole movement. And
you think?
It had a small voice, because I say this because there's a media company that monitor the results of this, and it came back with 99.2% was literally social media of all Fees Must Fall.
No, granted, the movement was huge. I mean,
it was very huge. So it was also just a thing of, okay, I'm a student. The media doesn't know what's going on. They just come here and they just want to take pictures and they just want to write the story of what they see. But we know the real things. Therefore, we will publish what we feel is right for the public to know. So it is powerful, but it's also about power as well. Like, okay, I'm fighting with the media.
All right. No, I hear you. I think you didn't touch on my social media activists, but I think what has come out is the mere fact that we are saying yay to social media activists. We're saying yes, go out there, tell our story, but tell our story. Speak, don't disseminate the wrong information. Don't mislead people. And I think that's the problem with the media, is that the media makes decisions and then misleads people with what they believe people want to hear. We're not trying to sell papers here. We're trying to get the narrative out. Don't try and sell your papers during a cause. I mean, what are you doing? People will still come to you looking for information. So I think that's ultimately what we've concluded. Guys, thank you so much for coming through and having a bit of a chat on the power that lies within you guys as students. But as I always say, for me personally, be strategic. You know, like, go out there. Yes, I understand we need to be radical, and you know, I understand that we can't be having coups here in South Africa, so we can't be having bloodshed. But I understand that in numbers we can bring about a few change. during elections, all I appeal for is let's shut down elections. Let us call a vote. Let's call a vote of no confidence. You heard it right here on Assertiveness. For the first time, let's call a vote of no confidence. Shut down elections 2016. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always say on the show, if you're not assertive, really, you can't sit with us.